Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om Om Shri Hanuma Bhima Madhvantargata Ramakrishna Vedavyasatmaka Lakshmi Hayagrivaya Namaha. Namaskara of Srinivasan Pranesh to all Sajjanas. We are going through a series of discourses under the title Vedas and Unbiased View. In that, we are going through what is meant by true cognition, doubt, and error. And we are analyzing various other cognitions, for example, the dream cognition, whether it is true or not. And we are in part 8 of this discourse now in the series. And to give you a recap, in the previous sessions, we went through the dream experiences and we discussed whether the dream cognition is a true cognition or ayatartha jnana. And we, with the help of Brahma Sutras, Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, Chandogya Upanishad, and so many other evidences, we had a discussion that the dreams are really true, and the dream state is also under complete control of God as per God's will, and all the souls are propelled in the dream. So some objections arise, like what is the material cost for the dream, what is the efficient cost for the dream, and everything has been answered from the philosophical side. And we also said that the dream indicates omen because it is true. Now see the glory of God. We were speaking about the dream in general. However, the whole universe has got 84 lakhs kinds of species as per Garuda Purana. I mean, 84 lakhs kinds of species. So in each species, we don't know how many population will be there. Human is just one of the species. So many species, so many souls have the dreams. If we scientifically see, even the cats and dogs get dreams, right? I have seen in some scientific videos as well. So not only humans, others also get dreams. And in the dream cognition, every soul gets different experience, sees different objects of knowledge, and the God individually propels each soul into these dream experiences. So that shows the greatness of God, the creator, who does a creation and destruction even in the dream state. So this gives us the glory of God in one way. And I'm really surprised to even think that the God has got so much ability. Of course, it is a surprise from my side, but it is a casual thing for him, because our ability is very limited. So such an ability of God will look like a surprise to us, but it is not so really, because he is God. And now the next state, that is our memory, is a valid cognition or not. That is what we are going to discuss in this part 8 of the series of discourse under this title Vedas and Unbiased View. Because some philosophies like Nayayikas and even Purva Mimamsakas, the Prabhakara school, they opine that memory is not a valid cognition. For example, let us take Prabhakara school of thought, the Purva Mimamsakas. One of the philosophies originated in India, as we went through in our previous sessions. I gave a list of philosophies originated in India, and Prabhakara school is one of the division among the Purva Mimamsakas. So they say memory is not a valid cognition and gives various reasons for the same. We will be going through those reasons in this part of the discourse, and we will also be going through how that is countered or debated and refuted by philosophers who belong to Sri Madhvacharya's philosophy. Let us do it with an example. So I had a best friend named Balaji when I was working in a company named Technic in Delhi. That was during 2008, and now we are in 2026. So if we take this example of Balaji and Delhi, which were really cognized by me in the year 2008. And today, on this date, in 2026, I am speaking about the same friend Balaji and Delhi in front of you all. So that comes from my memory, the impressions where my friend Balaji and the Delhi, as I perceived during 2008, are stored in my mind and now retrieved in the form of memory or recollected in the from the memory. So whether this is a true cognition or not, that is the question. So now the opponents say for a perception to happen, the friend Balaji or Delhi are not perceived by me directly at this point of time. So that is not relevant to the current context. And that was sometime in 2008, and now we are in 2026. So there is a huge gap between 2008 and 2026 where so many changes could have happened. So for perception, there has to be a connection between the senses and the object of knowledge, right? Say, for example, if we are perceiving a pot, then my eyes should have contact with the pot, and that contact should be defectless. Only then I get the true knowledge that it is a pot. So, for perception to happen, there has to be a connection between the senses and the object of knowledge. But in case of the friend Balaji or Delhi, there is no contact between the senses and Balaji now, or there is no contact between the senses and Delhi now. So, there is no real perception. And neither Balaji, by saying Balaji, I mean my friend. There was a real friend named Balaji to me. He was one of my best friends in Delhi when I worked in Delhi. So neither this Balaji nor Delhi are cognized as they are now, right? So I cognized them I saw them in 2008. So now I have not seen Balaji for a long time. So I don't know how he appears now. Maybe he has become more fat or he has become lean. So there could be some change in his appearances. And if I take Delhi, for example, in 2008, when I stayed in a place called Mayur Vihar Phase 3, even to catch some local bus and to travel to other regions, I had a great difficulty. But now in 2026, I hear that Delhi has been developed so much in with respect to the transportation, and that is not the same Delhi now in 2026 which I perceived in 2008. So neither my friend Balaji nor Delhi are as they existed in 2008 in this 2026. So in this case, how it can be called as a valid knowledge or perception? That is not in present time. That is, Balaji and Delhi are not cognized as they are in the present time. That is the objection raised by the opponent. And here Sri Madhvacharya says, no, we refute your theory because memory is a very valid cognition. So now, to answer the question, for a perception to happen, there have to be contact between the senses and the object of knowledge. Perception, in Sanskrit we call it pratyaksha, and in English we say direct perception. So if perception have to happen, then there have to be a contact between our senses and the object of knowledge, which is not so in the case of Balaji and Delhi. That is the objection raised by the opponents. But Sri Madhvacharya says the connection need not necessarily be always present between the external senses and the object of the knowledge. It can also be internal, where the impressions in the mind, the memory that connects with the objects of knowledge that were previously perceived, more or less like the dream state, we can say. But memory is different and dream is different. So this internal perception or cognition through the mind is called manasa pratyaksha. So what is real pratyaksha? We say we are going to go through the definitions in the upcoming discourses, but as of now, pratyaksha means it is nirdosha artha indriya sannikarsha. Sannikarsha means the connection between defectless senses and the object of the knowledge is called pratyaksha or perception. And in this case, there is a connection, that there is no place for doubt or error here, right? See, I don't get any doubt whether the person I perceived in 2008 was Balaji only, whether I lived only in Delhi in 2008 or was it some other city. So there is no doubt here. I am very, very much sure that I lived in Delhi in 2008 and Balaji was my best friend. And similarly, there is no place for error also, because I am pretty sure that he is Balaji, who was my friend, and I lived in Delhi. So there is no place for doubt or error here. So it is a true cognition only. But how this true cognition occurs, how this is called as perception, in that case, there is a sannikarsha, that is the connection between the mental impressions, the mind that gets connected with the objects that were cognized by me in the year 2008, and I'm able to recollect those memory even in the year 2026 as I cognized in the year 2008. So it need not be as in the present condition. See, Balaji might have gone fat, he might have gone lean. I don't know in which city he may be living now. And Delhi may not be the same way I perceived in 2008. There could be so many changes in Delhi and developments, so many high rise buildings, and so many changes. That is all fine. And that need not relate to the current context, because this is a memory. I have not told Balaji and Delhi or as such as I perceived in the year 2008, right? I accept that yes, so many things could have changed now, but with respect to some space and time, that is, in the year 2008, I perceived Balaji and Delhi this way, and that comes into my memory. To give another example given by my revert preceptor, say I am going to a temple and I see an elephant in the morning. So in the evening, when I discuss with my parents, in case I say I saw an elephant in the temple in the morning, that is still valid. The parents cannot say that it is not valid, because I am recollecting my memory and expressing that one with respect to the space and the time I actually perceived it. That means I'm not saying to my parents that the elephant still stands as such in the same place in the temple where I perceived in the morning. If I say so, then somebody can say that the memory is not a valid cognition, because the elephant that you perceived in the morning is not found there. But when I express my thoughts, I myself say that I perceived the elephant in the temple around 8 a.m. in the morning. And that is factual. I really perceived it around 8 a.m. in the morning, and that is what I am speaking about in the evening. So, with respect to the particular space and time, I perceived the elephant in the morning. I recollect the memory now and I give it in the form of a dialogue to my parents. And even when I speak to them, they say, I perceived it in the morning. So, with respect to that space and time, memory has to be very well considered as true cognition. And the debates against the fact that memory is a true cognition, that means the people who say memory is not a valid cognition have to be rejected, and that is the Madhva philosophy. So it need not be perceived as in the current context. So when I perceived Balaji and Delhi in 2008, whatever I perceived that time is stored in my memory, and I recollect that now, and that is very well a pramana and a true cognition as they were cognized in 2008 with respect to the space Delhi and the time 2008 when I was working there in technical. So, if we say memory is not a valid cognition, then so many things could not happen in our routine life. Say, for example, when my son falls sick sometimes, doctor might have prescribed some medicine, and that medicine after breakfast may be given by my wife or myself to my son. So sometimes it happens around 10:30 or 11 o'clock. I suddenly rise up, I awake and tell to my wife, hey, we have to give a medicine to the child, the morning dosage. So have you given or should I give? Please let me know. So my wife sometimes recollects her memory and says, "No need to give because I already gave the dosage around 8 o'clock in the morning. So you are an irresponsible father coming to me around 11 o'clock and asking if you have to give medicine to your son. I already gave it around 8 o'clock. That is in my memory. So you don't have to give it now." And I say, okay, fine, you have given, so I don't have to give it. So I will henceforth be a responsible father. That is the usual dialogue I deliver to my wife. Now, in case you say the memory is not a valid cognition, then what about the medicine given to my son around 8 o'clock? So should I again repeat the same medicine in by 11 o'clock because memory is not valid? Not so. So we carry out so many activities based on our memories, and even in the Puranas, we can see that the seers, the Vedic seers, the rishis, they go back to the past births of so many people, identify the sin that they have done, and they give some solutions to their problems. For example, Dilipa, King Dilipa, who is one of the forefathers of Sri Rama, for him, he and his wife were childless, and Vasishta Maharishi went into his past. He cognized what really happened. So when the Kamadhenu, the cow, the divine cow came, this Dilipa, he didn't respect Kamadhenu and was cursed to be childless. So Vasishta Maharishi, he cognizes the past fact that happened sometime in the long past, and he advises King Dilipa and his wife to go and serve the daughter of Kamadhenu, Nandini, so that they can have child. They do so. They please Nandini. They do Prayaschitta. They were tested. I'm not giving you the whole story because we have videos of short span. But they pleased Nandini, and finally they had a son. So this is seen in Puranas. If memory is not valid cognition, then how such things could happen? In this case, it is not even own memory, but Vasishta travels into the past of some other person, the King Dilipa. He cognizes what happened because of his yogic powers, and he gives a solution to the problem childlessness to Dilipa. And he factually had a son also after pleasing Nandini and following the advice of Vasishta. So all these say that memory is really a valid cognition, and it is not a invalid ayatartha jnana, as told by Prabhakara school or some other schools of thoughts. So the scriptures, both authored scriptures like Brahmatarka and unauthored scriptures, that means the eternal Vedas, also say that memory is a valid pramana or a valid true cognition, and the memory is yatartha jnana only because it need not match with the current context. The memory is recollected as cognized really with respect to some space and time, and hence those are real cognition only. And as I told already, from Vedas, we can see that it says four things, that is smriti, memory. So we said memory. In Sanskrit, it is called smriti. Purva samskara, it is based on Purva samskara. And the smriti or the memory, the pratyaksha or the direct perception, and aitihya, and that is the traditional practices based on the scriptures, which is parampara prapta, and Anumana or the inference are all called as valid Pramana by Vedas. Hence, memory is to be accepted as valid true cognition by all means as per Sri Madhvacharya philosophy, which is very convincing to us. And again, if there comes a question, why should I accept just because the memory is told as valid pramana in the Vedas? Then please wait for the further discourses. Once we get into the glory of the Vedas and we prove the authority and eternity of the Vedas, then there will be no problem at all to accept Vedas as authority and what it says as authority. So, with this, I conclude this part, and let us get into the next part. Maybe for another 2 or 3 parts, we will go through the Pramana Paddhati, and then slowly we will get into the debates on glory of the Vedas, or the eternity and the authority of the Vedas. Sarvam Sri Krishna Arpanamastu.